Respected all the participants, here is a small request to all the participants. Kindly mute your audio and video. I request, please mute your camera as well as video. Our webinar will start now. Resource person is already now online. So the topic of the webinar is effective use of electronic resources in academia during COVID-19 outbreaks. Respected members of the management, principal of our college, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan Bhatt, resource person of the today's webinar, Dr. Rekha D. Pai, and all the August participants. Very good morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Vasuppa Gowda, the IQAC coordinator and librarian of the college, take this opportunity to initiate this national level webinar on effective use of electronic resources in academia during COVID-19 outbreaks. This is a very burning topic and also need of the hour to every one of us. The importance of the online resources is increasing due to COVID-19 lockdown. The effective use of the electronic resources for academic purposes is very important to keep ourselves up to date as well as for knowledge sharing to student community. Keeping the importance of the resources, electronic resources in mind, we have decided to have a webinar on effective use of electronic resources in academia during COVID-19 outbreaks. To this program, we have invited a renowned scholar, Dr. Rekha D. Pai, as the main speaker. Dr. Rekha D. Pai is having a very strong academic career. She is the postgraduate in Library and Information Science from Mangalore University, passed in the year 1993 with the first rank with the gold medal. She cleared JRF from UGC in the same year. She is also awarded doctoral degree in Library and Information Science from Mangalore University in the year 2002. She is an active member of Indian Library Association, Indian Association of Special Libraries and Information Centers, and also Dakshina Kannada and Kodagu Library Association. She served as a resource person in many national and international level seminars, conferences, and workshops. She has published research papers in conference volumes, edited books, and peer review journals. She is specialized in online resources and its use. She is the right resource person to speak on this occasion. Madam, on behalf of all the participants, I extend a very warm and cordial welcome to you, Madam. Also, welcome to our management members, Principal of our college, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan Bhatt, and all the students and colleagues. Also, a very warm and cheerful welcome to all the participants. I am very happy to announce that we have received overwhelming response across the globe, including Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Nigeria, South Africa, Japan, Kuwait, Singapore, Philippines, etc. The registration has crossed 1,400. The participants are requested to watch the live stream from the Google Meet. If the Google Meet platform is full, you are requested to watch from YouTube link, which we have already provided you the link. If you face any problem to watch the live stream in YouTube, the recorded video will be uploaded in the YouTube channel soon after the program. All the participants are requested to fill the feedback form to get the e-certificate. Those who watch the recorded video from the YouTube are requested to fill the feedback form which is placed in the description. Now, I once again extend a very warm and cordial welcome to all the participants who are watching the video. And now I request the resource person of the day, Madam Dr. Rekha D. Pai, to present your views on the main theme. Madam, welcome to you. Rekha D. Pai to present your.
Good morning to all. Thank you, Dr. Vasappa Gowda, for a nice introduction and warm welcome. I'm very happy to be associated in this particular webinar. I thank the management, principal, and all the faculty members of Besant Evening College for providing me an opportunity to associate myself with this webinar. So at the outset, I'm overwhelmed by the response of the participants. I was told that it has crossed 1,200, and I hope I will meet the expectations of all. So let me share my experience as far as electronic resources are concerned. So let me open my presentation slide now. Hearing about online degree courses at 230 universities. IIT Madras has started an online BSc program. So all such things we are viewing now, and we should be ready for that. That is online education. So the academics, we have to go online. There is no other way. So we are experiencing this online situation from long back. Like we are using the online ticket booking system, not only for train, but also for flight. We are making our payments through GPay, Paytm, etc. So likewise, we are seeing e-communication, e-business, and whatnot. So in the field of library, also we are not lagging behind. We are having many electronic resources, that is e-books, e-journals, e-databases, etc., which we have to make more popular now because of the need of the day. So this paperless society concept is not new. It was originated long back in the year 1978 by F.W. Lancaster. But at that time, we were thinking whether we can survive without paper. But now we are experiencing it. So the day has come. So librarians will, in time, become information specialists in a de-institutionalized setting. That means the physical institution may not be there, but we have to provide the information to the academics. So this is the picture of paperless library, which has become a reality now. So coming to the information requirements of academia, so in academic setup, we majorly have three stakeholders: UG or PG students, research scholars, then faculty members. UG or PG students, why they require information? They require information to meet their course requirements, to present seminars, to write assignments, submission of project reports or dissertations. Then coming to the research scholars, they want information to solve their research problems, to conduct literature review, to prepare seminar or conference presentations. Likewise, faculty members, they want information to conduct classes, labs, to prepare for journal articles and conference papers, to write books, to carry out minor and major projects, to guide students for MPhil or PhD. So coming to electronic resources. So what are electronic resources? Electronic resources are documents in digital format which are accessible electronically. For example, ebooks, e-journals, etc. in varied formats like PDF, JPG, HTML, ASP, .doc, .xls, etc. So the types of electronic resources are electronic books, electronic journals, e-databases, e-newspapers, e-magazines, e-project reports, e-theses, e-dissertations, etc. So electronic resources may be in two forms. One is online form, another one is offline form. So by offline form, I mean CD-ROMs, hard disks, DVD, pen drive, etc., which doesn't require internet connection. But online resources like ebooks, e-journals, etc., require internet connection to access them. So coming to ebooks, so an electronic book or ebook is a book made available in digital form consisting of text, images, or both, readable on computers or other electronic devices. Although sometimes defined as an electronic version of a printed book, some ebooks exist without a print equivalent. So we are facing the situation now. The publishers are giving you the details of books which are available in electronic form. They are not at all printed, but they are print on demand titles, POD. So if there is a confirmed order, then only they are going to print. Otherwise, prints are not available. So we can't say that we are comfortable with hard copy and we can't access ebook. We have to learn that and we have to buy the ebooks. So coming to the advantages of electronic books, it gives you up-to-date information because revision is very easy. You can bring edition after edition very easily. One copy of the book can be accessed by many people. So in physical library, we are facing this problem. We have to buy multiple copies of books to serve many students, which is solved now. You buy one ebook and give access to many people. And it is very convenient. Because it saves time. Because it can be held in your handheld device, in the smartphone, in the laptop, or in them, you can read them. So fourth law of library science, save the time of the reader. I think it is served now. It is fulfilled now. Then e-resources can be viewed from any electronic devices. As I was telling you, it can be viewed by using smartphone, laptop or desktop or Kindle ebook reader. Then it has got numerous value added features like you can search, you can hear the audio, view the video or experience the animation or graphics. So it is very easy and useful even for children because along with the text, the animation is available, pictures are available, which is more understandable when compared to the text. Coming to the other advantages, it is easy to use and disseminate. Then next one, it saves space in the library. It is the problem of majority of the libraries. So when planning the library, we used to plan like multiple floors. But now, because of the electronic resources, that problem is solved. Coming to the fonts in ebooks, these can be resized and making it easier to read for people with disabilities. So if you have some eyesight problem, you can maximize the size and you can read them easily. Then it saves human resources and staff time. Now, because the access is available at a single click, the staff can invest their time in offering other relevant services in the library. Next one, no more missing books, the headache of librarian. Like we used to miss books because of stealing of books and some other things. So such things are solved now. and librarian is relieved. Then it adds value to your purchase, because if you want to buy one electronic book, the publisher will offer you a bouquet of books which you can purchase for your library. So in the same price, you can have multiple number of books and you can increase the volume of your library. Then coming to the environment, so no trees are required to manufacture paper for the pages of ebooks. So save trees, read ebooks. Continuing. So ebooks are portable, so you can read them on the move. If you are traveling in train or flight, you can very well read them because you have it in your Kindle. Then with today's technology, you can read ebooks everywhere. Ebooks can show links for easy access to more information and related websites. So if you have already experienced reading ebooks, you might have noticed there are many hyperlinks which will take you to the related websites. So the linking is very easy here. Then ebooks are searchable. You can easily search for any information in an ebook instead of turning page after page. So in physical books, even though index is available, it may be a bit difficult when compared to ebooks where it is easy to search. Then ebooks can be interactive and contain audio, video, animations which can enhance the message that the author is trying to convey. Since ebooks are delivered through the internet, there are no packing and shipping expenses. So these are all the advantages of electronic resources. Of course, there are some disadvantages. So there are some technical barriers like hardware, software, network connection, etc. So network should always be up. Otherwise, you can't read the electronic resources. That is online electronic resources. Then infrastructure snags, bandwidth, load shedding, etc. Because if we have a limited bandwidth, if more number of people log in, that bandwidth has to be shared between the users and the downloading speed may be low and you may feel a bit, say, problematic while viewing the electronic resources. Then it requires some skills and training. So initially, the users may need some training to access these electronic resources. Then cost to acquire e-resources can be high because the initial investment. So that matters and it may be high initially. So by overcoming all these disadvantages, one will appreciate having the electronic resources at their rescue. So coming to the ebooks, there may be three types, like free ebooks. Otherwise, you may have to buy individual ebooks, or you may have to buy the ebooks package. So there are many free ebooks available in the internet. Only thing is, we have to venture them and we can start accessing them. So these are few of the websites which will give you the access to free electronic books. So let me open one of the hyperlink so that you can view how many ebooks are available in this particular website. So this is the digital book index. So you can see the feedback given by the various users. So it is a very useful website which you can use for your studies. Then the second one is www.gutenberg.org. So this is also a useful website. There are more than 60,000 free books here. So please venture this, please log into this and start accessing the ebooks which are available free. Another website is www.pdfdrive.net. So this is also a useful website having many electronic books. So you can see here, as of today, we have 8 crore 36 lakhs 99,000 610 books. So the number is increasing. See, you can see every second one book is getting added here. So this is a very useful site where you can have the access to free electronic books. So there are many other websites like manybooks.net, bookboon.com, then libgen.li. So this is also a website having free ebooks, very useful. You can download the PDFs. So please venture or explore this particular website. You may find some relevant books for your studies here. So this is again free of cost. Okay, let me take you to Google Books project. Google is working with over 40 libraries to digitize their collection and make them available to the users. An enhanced card catalog of book will provide the bibliographic details. If the book is out of copyright, the entire book can be downloaded. So this is the venture started by Google by taking the help of some world famous libraries, but publishers have brought some concerns and the project has been slowed down. So this is the Kannada book that is available in the Google Books project. So there are many such free books are available in the Google Books project. Please explore and use them. Next one is Project Gutenberg. As I have already told, there are some 60,000 free ebooks here. So if relevant to your academics, please explore them. Come to National Digital Library. So our Prime Minister is telling about the digital mission. So this is a national mission on education through ICT that is initiated by Ministry of Human Resource Development. So they called it as National Digital Library. This is the integration of several national and international digital libraries in one single platform. So it is a virtual repository of all learning resources. So many institutions have developed various institutional repositories, and these repositories are brought under single platform and users are allowed to use them. So educational materials are available here from primary to postgraduate level. And it includes all subject areas like technology, social science, literature, law, medical, etc. All type of e-resources such as books, audio books or lectures, video lectures, and all types of question papers of some universities, solutions, etc. are also available. The content of all languages are available. So user interface available is widely used in Indian languages. So it integrates contents from institutional digital repositories of large number of Indian educational and research institutions. So this is the home page of National Digital Library. So you can see here it is available for all subject categories, and you can create your account by just clicking the login. So it is very user friendly and you can create your account on your own. So this is the website https://ndl.iitkgp.ac.in. So this is the venture that is started by IIT Kharagpur. So next I will take you to another important website, that is Directory of Open Access Journals, DOAJ. So it is a website that lists open access journals. So these journals are free on the internet. One thing is you should have internet connection, that's all. So there are some 14,900 journals. These are all high quality, peer reviewed, open access research. So please visit the website https://doaj.org, and it is a very useful website which lists the open access journals. This is the website that is very useful for engineering. a national program on technology-enabled learning. So this was initiated by Indian Institutes of Technology along with Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, so long back in the year 2003. This is the largest online repository in the world of courses in engineering, basic sciences, and humanities and social science subjects. The most accessed library of peer-reviewed educational content in the world. So, NPTEL, National Program on Technology-Enabled Learning, it is video lectures of various experts are available free online, and they also offer some online courses with valid certification. So, students and faculty members, please venture this site and use them. Then coming to the ResearchGate, this is a free academic social networking site. It was founded in 2008. Using this platform, scholars can create their own profiles, upload their scholarly work, and communicate among peers. Read and review articles posted by others, stay abreast with new developments in their field. So more than 14 plus million members are there in case of ResearchGate. So using ResearchGate, you can share your publications, you can connect with your peers, you can get the statistics of citations of your papers, you can ask questions, you can find the right job too. So please take a membership of this particular site. Those who are already members of this ResearchGate can send invitations to their friends so that their friends can also create an account in the ResearchGate. Another such website, this is the ResearchGate page where I have my account. So I can publish my papers here so that the members in the ResearchGate can view my papers. They can request for the full text of my papers, and I can do that. Another such website is academia.edu. So it is a platform for academics to share research papers. Scholars use this platform also to monitor deep analytics around the impact of their research. So one can track the research of the academics they follow. The website is www.academia.edu. So please explore this also. So already there are many academics and researchers who have joined academia.edu, and it is a very useful free website. Then coming to Shodhganga. So this is very useful for the researchers. It is an initiative of InflibNet, Information and Library Network, a initiative of UGC. It is a reservoir of Indian thesis. So there are already 273,000 full text theses available in the Shodhganga, and these uploaded theses are available free for the users. This Shodhganga platform will capture, index, store, preserve, and disseminate electronic theses and dissertations submitted by researchers. Already 518 universities have signed the MOU. So this is a very useful site for the researchers. So I remember my day of doing my PhD. It was very difficult to access a thesis. So I used to go to DRTC, Documentation Research Training Center at Bangalore, wherein some were available and I could access them. But now it is very easy and it is available freely on the internet. Only thing is you should know how to go to that and use that. Next, I will. This is the web page of homepage of Shodhganga. So shodhganga.inflibnet.ac.in. So you can see 270,000 plus theses is already uploaded, and this is the latest statistics. Next is Shodh Gangotri. This is also the venture of InflibNet. This is the repository of Indian research in progress. So if you have already registered for your PhD in a university, you can upload your synopsis here so that nobody else will take up your topic. So you can block that topic for yourself. So already 7,652 synopses are already available, and this is as on 9th July. Shodh Gangotri, the website is shodhgangotri.inflibnet.ac.in. So this is the research in progress. So other electronic theses and dissertation repositories. One is of Mahatma Gandhi University, Kerala. So it has got 3,200 theses in its website. Then Indian Institute of Science, 2,980 theses are available. Then Vidyanidhi project of University of Mysore. So there also the electronic theses and dissertations are available. In Cochin University of Science and Technology, Kerala. So 2,830 theses are uploaded. Electronic theses and dissertations at Pondicherry University are also available online. So please make note of all these websites. You can refer the theses and dissertations. Coming to the institutional repositories. When this concept of digital library started, we used to subscribe the commercially available digital resources, and we used to say we have the digital library. But now we can create an institutional repository wherein we can upload the publications of our own faculty or student, and we can build our own digital library. So all our important documents like say college magazines or college day videos, then say project reports of the students, dissertations, master's degree thesis, all such publications for which the institution has the copyright can upload in its institutional repository. So there are various softwares available to build such institutional repository. One of them is ePrints, Greenstone or DSpace. So in our university, that is MAHE, we have used ePrints software to build our digital repository. So I will just take you to the institutional repository of MAHE. Give me a second. Okay, this institutional repository will allow to upload all the publications like book chapters, journal articles, then conference papers, etc. This will help the author of your institute also, because it can be a storehouse for their publications. If they miss a copy, they can always contact the administrator of the institutional repository and fetch a copy there. So this is the home page of MAHE Digital Repository. So there are various search options: browse by author, browse by subject, browse by year, etc. And administrator has the right to upload the various publications in this research repository. So please type eprints.manipal.edu and you will get the access this particular institutional repository. Only thing is, you may not get the full text because the copyrighted things we have made available only the extracts, not the full text. So next is about Enlist program. It is very useful for the colleges. So it is a sector again of InflibNet. You might have heard about eShodh Sindhu. So National Library and Information Services Infrastructure for Scholarly Content, Enlist. It has got various consortium will charge you very nominal and you can subscribe all these e-resources. There are 6,000 plus e-journals, 31 lakhs 35,000 e-books. It provides access to e-resources to students, faculties, and researchers from colleges through the server installed at the InflibNet Center. Access to South Asia Archive and World e-book library is available to all the registered colleges. Then access to JSTOR journals are now available to colleges under Enlist program. Then trial access, world scientific publication and university publishing online through Cambridge University Press ebooks. So you have various ebooks here, 1,800 plus titles of Cambridge University Press, 65 plus titles of Hindustan Book Agency, 1,000 titles from Sage Publications, then 382 plus titles from Institute of Southeast Asian Studies, Springer ebooks, 2,300 titles, Taylor and Francis ebooks, 1,800 titles. So this is very useful and specifically for the colleges which are running the master's programs like MCOM, MSc, etc. So please guide your users to access these Enlist resources. Coming to ePG Pathshala. So this is again a gateway for all PG courses. Again, it is a venture from InflibNet. So the resources are available and full text it is, and it is very useful. It is again initiative of MHRD under its national mission on education through ICT being executed by the UGC. So let me take you to the website ePG Pathshala. Yes. So it is a gateway to all postgraduate courses. So please venture this website and you will get many e-resources free of cost. So ebooks are available, then online courses, UGC MOOCs, then ePathya, offline access. So many things are available here in this particular website. So it is useful for all the PG students. Okay, having said that, many things are available online free of cost, but don't copy them. It is plagiarism and you will be caught hold of. An act or instance of using or closely imitating the language and thoughts of another author without authorization is plagiarism. So in this online environment, it is very easy to copy paste, but don't do that. Please put your ideas, just refer what is available freely, but don't put it exactly. But if you are putting it, please give the credit to the original author. So plagiarize, to steal and pass off as one's own, which is not allowed, and there are many plagiarism checking softwares. So anti-plagiarism softwares are available. Importantly, the Turnitin. So in Mahe, we are using this Turnitin software to check the plagiarism. So I think now UGC or many universities have made it mandatory to submit their project reports and PhD thesis along with the plagiarism reports. So it is left to the university, they can fix the percentage. Some will say 15% is allowed, some may say 20% is allowed, but not more than that. So refer the online freely available resources, but don't copy them. So these are the plagiarism softwares, anti-plagiarism softwares, which will find out how much percentage is copied. Then coming to the reference managers. So those who are doing their PhD, they might have already knowing that they will refer so many things during their course of study. So over the course of PhD studies, one will collect, read and review a large body of literature and information in various formats. And keeping track of the literature one encounters can be facilitated by using a reference manager. An efficient reference management workflow simplifies the academic writing process. Because your PhD is stretched for 2 years or 3 years, you're referring so many things. So if you use a reference manager to organize your bibliographical references, then it is very easy for you, and at the end of the study period, that is during submission of your PhD thesis, you can organize your bibliography and add it. So the three most popular free reference managers are Zotero, Mendeley, and EndNote. So EndNote, the desktop version is available, but the premium version one has to pay. Then coming to Grammarly. So grammar, while submitting the thesis or project report, grammar is very important. So I used to remember when we were doing PhD, we used to give our manuscript to a English faculty. So he used to give the final touch, because we may be experts in our subjects but may not be in English. So now you can take the help of a software, that is Grammarly. It is very popular. So, but it is a subscribed software, not free. So world's most accurate grammar checker, Grammarly automatically detects grammar, spelling, punctuation, word choice, and style mistakes in writing. Grammarly helps students to achieve academic goals and improve their writing in essays, reports, theses, and dissertations. So many such softwares are available. So one can take the help of these softwares to fine-tune their writings while submitting the journal articles also. So it will reduce your refusal of articles by the publishers. So if it is proofread or grammatically correct, there are more chances of acceptance of articles by the publishers. So please use such softwares and publish your articles, bring credit to your institution. So having said all these electronic resources, what we can do in this situation, like pandemic situation. So we are all experiencing the lockdown, or the virus has made us to sit in homes. So what we can do? How can I access my electronic resources? There is a facility, remote access facility. Library of Congress has brought out a software for that, that is EZ Proxy. And if you install it in your institution, all your users can be given username and password, and using that, one can use the electronic resources subscribed by the institute remotely. So let me take you to my remote access page of our library. So this is the remote access page. I will just log in. So this is the database menu of MIT Manipal. So I can access all these resources remotely by sitting anywhere in the world. So this is my library web page. So we have given links to various resources here. Okay, so ePrints, I was telling you, Mahe Digital Repository. There is the link for e-journals, e-databases, e-standards, our library catalog, college magazines. So we are also taking feedback online about our library services, and Grammarly, the grammar checking software. So various such useful links can be planned in the library web page, and we can make it accessible to the users remotely. Then discovery services. So by subscribing various electronic resources, the users are getting confused. Which e-resource I should refer for my work? So initially it happens. But after using continuously, one may become expert which database I have to refer for my topic or which e-journal I have to venture. But the initial researcher or a student may find it difficult to which database they should log in. That problem is solved by Discovery Service. So this is a single window search platform. So this we have done in our university. We have a single window and there you have to just click.
Yes, continue.
And you can give your keyword. It will search all the databases that is subscribed by the institution and it will give you the result. So such an advanced technology is available and one can think of having them in all the institutions.
Mostly our camera.
And finally, there are some tips for institutions or academicians. Automate the libraries using a software. Create a library web page. Give a link to the library OPAC. Identify free e-resources useful for library users. Give links to such resources in the web page. Subscribe commercial e-resources and provide link in the web page. Train the users by arranging information literacy programs because awareness is very important before use. So if you want to take the usage report, if the users are not aware that such resources are available, the usage will come down. So information literacy programs has to be organized then and there. Whenever the new students are coming to the institutions, such types of programs are required. Then if you add something new to the resources, then also such types of programs are required. Then take the feedback from users and develop the library services based on user requirements. So this is my experience I have shared. I hope some information I have given to all of you. This is because of MAHE, MIT, because I'm working there since 25 years and all the necessary infrastructure is provided by our management and hence it is very useful to say improve ourselves. So I hope I have met all the expectations of the participants. So thank you. Every ending is really just a new beginning. So this is a small tip for the effective use of electronic resources. Once again, I take this opportunity to thank my management, MIT MAHE, and also Peasants Evening College, especially Dr. Vasappa Gowda, for associating with this particular webinar. Thank you one and all.
Thank you very much, madam, for your very wonderful and very beautiful presentation on this webinar. We have received a lot of appreciation to your presentation in the chat box. Madam, it is the time now for question answers. I think the participants all are ready here. We have received some of the questions here. Madam, one question is asked by one of the participants whether Grammarly is free or paid and how to use it.
Sir, Grammarly is not free.
Okay.
It is a paid software.
Okay.
So the usage, there is some ready-made manual available. Yeah. You have to upload the manuscript in the software. Okay. And it will give suggestions where the mistake has come. Okay. And it will also give the right thing, like you can insert that suggestion in your manuscript.
Okay. Okay. Madam, you have made a beautiful presentation on online resources.
Thank
there
you.
Are one question rises, particularly because of this COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. there are a lot of online classes are going on. The entire public has a big doubt as well as a question. The question is whether classroom teaching substitutes the online teaching, and if the libraries are providing online services, can it be enough to have uh, to acquire knowledge as that of in the classrooms? What's your opinion, madam?
Of course, classroom teaching cannot substitute,
Yeah,
online teaching cannot substitute classroom teaching.
yeah,
So, one to one or face to face teaching is always best. But there is no other way now. So, we have to adjust to the situation. Maybe some recorded lectures
yeah,
may be given to the students, and that will suffice
yeah,
the requirement. And as far as library resources are concerned, as I already told, we can plan for having more and more electronic resources.
yeah.
Even though the physical books use comfortable reading, there is no other way. We can add ebooks, e-journals, and we can start providing remote access to the electronic resources so that users can use them and get their information requirement satisfied.
I hope the working librarians are meeting the academic needs of the user community. Okay, madam. One more question is regarding you have in your presentation where the participants have observed about the reference managers like Zotero, Mendeley, and EndNote. Among these three popular databases, which one is more popular and which one is more authentic? And does it be the free softwares?
So, as I already mentioned, EndNote is the more popular one,
Yeah.
and the basic version is available free of cost,
Okay.
but the premium version one has to pay.
Yeah. Madam, can you please little elaborate on the Enlist databases? I think most of the college libraries are subscribing in India, and a huge amount of electronic resources are available. Can you please elaborate on this? And can an individual can subscribe to this? Because this is the question raised by one of the participants. In fact, we librarians are knowing say, how we can access the e-resources and all. Please elaborate on this.
Enlist, of course, as I have already explained, it can be subscribed by the colleges, not individuals. So college has to pay a nominal fee, I think 5,000 odd, and they can have the access to the content of Enlist. So there are many electronic resources available. As I already told, e-journals are also available, and the users can access them. It is more useful for the PG programs, as I mentioned, MCOM or MSc students. They can refer these, and they can prepare their academic, say, content. Yeah.
In addition to your explanation, madam, I would like to add few words. Like Enlist is a package for the college libraries. It is the product of eShow Sindhu of Infinity Center, Ahmedabad. And it can be subscribed by the colleges only which are admitted under or qualified under 2B of the UGC Act 1956. The government and aided colleges are eligible to avail it by those who are qualified under 12B of the Act of UGC, and they have to pay 5,000 rupees per year plus GST. It is 18%. Total, it comes about 5,900 rupees. For other non-aided colleges which are coming under 12B of the UGC Act, they have to pay 30,000 rupees plus 18% GST. Altogether, it comes 35,400. The medical colleges, engineering colleges, management colleges, pharmacy, dentistry, agriculture, and nursing colleges are not eligible to subscribe this package. The duration of the subscription is one academic year, April 1st to March 31st of each year. This is the information, and individuals are not eligible to avail this, subscribe this package. So this is the information. Madam, you have beautifully presented your library and library services about MIT library. Can the participants or the public or we people can join your library and avail your wonderful services?
Uh, Actually, the services are limited to the faculty and students of MIT only.
Yeah.
But definitely, you can write to me at lib.mit@manipal.edu, and I will try if the norms permit me. So let me send you the required articles or chapters of books.
Yeah.
So please communicate to me through mail lib.mit@manipal.edu.
Yeah. Because
But as of now, the services are limited to the MIT faculty and students.
yeah, I came to know that you are subscribing to Turnitin software, that is the plagiarism check software. Can we avail that facility, madam?
Turnitin, since it is a paid software,
Yeah.
and also we are paying per paper now.
Ah.
So it is a very costly software,
Yeah.
and service is limited to Mahi.
Okay, okay. Any more explanation with this regard, madam, on your topic?
I think we have to see how we can develop the digital libraries.
Yeah.
So first thing I want just is please explore the free resources.
Yeah.
Please develop a web page of your library or
Okay.
your institution
Okay.
and give links there. Start with that and automate your library and give the web opaque
Okay.
so that the users will come to know that some such books are available or such journals are available in your library. Then depending on your budget, you can start subscribing the commercially available resources. So first thing is make know to the users about the free resources
Okay.
by giving the links.
Okay.
Then you can start venturing the commercially available resources.
Okay. Any more questions by the participant side? I request please note down the phone number or the email IDs of the resource person of the day, Dr. Rekha Dippai. She is always available for you for the public service. And also you can make note of my phone number as well as email ID in case if you want any information resources related to your academic purpose. Definitely we are all time ready to make your service. Thank you, madam, for your wonderful presentation. Now, I request our co-convener, Mr. Mustafa, to propose vote of thanks.
Respected member of the management, the principal of the college, and all the participants, a very good afternoon to all. On this great vacation of national level webinar, I am very happy to propose vote of thanks. First of all, I thank the speaker of the day, Dr. Rekha Dippai, for sharing her expertise on the topic effective use of electronic resource in academia during COVID-19 outbreak. Madam, your presentation is very informative and useful. All of us, thank you, madam.
Thank you.
I thank the secretary of our management, Shri Devananda Pai, correspondent of our college, Shri Satish Kumar Bhatt, member of our management, Shri Ganesh Bhatt, for their presence to this webinar and also constant support and guidance. Thanks to our principal, Dr. Lakshminarayan Bhatt, for the cooperation, and also thanks to all our colleagues for the support. The success of the webinar depends upon the participants. I am happy to note that the registration has crossed 1,400 across the world. We have received the registration and watching the program from all the state of the country and also other countries including Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, Philippines, Pakistan, Nigeria, South Africa, Japan, Kuwait, Singapore. So the success of this webinar is your participation. Thanks to all the participants for your involvement. I express my thanks the convener of the program, Dr. Vasappa Gowda, selection grade librarian of our college. Thank you very much, sir. I thank one and all for the guidance and the cooperation. Have a good day, stay healthy and stay safe. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir,
Thank you,
for
sir.
your wonderful vote of thanks. And also, I especially thank you, Mr. Muhammad Mustafa, for all your cooperation and technical help. Also, thanks to our good friend and my colleague, Mr. Ritesh, for all the technical help. Once again, thanks to one and all for being partners in the success of this webinar. The recorded video will be uploaded to the YouTube. Those who have missed to watch the live video is requested to watch from the YouTube. The e-certificate will be sent within the week from the receipt of feedback form. Here ends our webinar. Stay healthy, stay safe. May God bless you all. Thank you very much. I request all of you to leave the webinar. Thank you, one and all.